We start off in the Saiyan Saga. Raditz struggles against Goku's grip as Goku yells at Piccolo to finish them off. Piccolo finally launches the special beam cannon straight through Raditz and Goku's chest. As Goku's and Raditz's life slowly fade away, Raditz relishes in the fact that at least Kakarot was accompanying him to the other world. But Piccolo mocks Raditz, stating that they could revive Goku with the Earth's Dragon Balls at any time. However, instead of seeing frustration on Raditz's face, Piccolo instead finds Raditz with a sinister smirk. He tells Piccolo that their end will come in a year, when Vegeta and Nappa arrive to put them in their place. Raditz passes away, and Goku soon after. However, unbeknownst to the Z Fighters, unbeknownst to the two Saiyans that were heading over to planet Earth, another third party was listening into Raditz's scouter. This person was none other than the space tyrant Frieza, who has also taken an interest in these Dragon Balls. Frieza tells his assistant Kikono to change their next destination. Kikono timidly asks Frieza, where to next? Frieza simply smiles and says, Planet 4032 Green 877, a seemingly completely random number. However, this planet is none other than planet Earth. As usual, a year later, Vegeta and Nappa arrive onto the planet. The initial confrontation between Vegeta and Nappa and the Z Fighters goes pretty much the same, with Yamcha dying in a Cyberman explosion, and then Chaozu and Tien slowly following suit. And that is when Vegeta tells Nappa to wait for 3 hours. They will wait for Kakarot to arrive before dishing out any more punishment. However, things don't go to plan. Not for the Z Fighters, not for Vegeta. An hour later, the Z Fighters start sensing multiple big powers coming towards Earth. This leaves them kinda confused. Wasn't Vegeta and Nappa supposed to be the only visitors to Earth? Why were there other people coming here? Vegeta's scouter soon picks up the powers as well. In particular, one very strong power level of 530,000. It was Frieza. Vegeta breaks the scouter in shock. Why was Frieza here? Vegeta tells the Z Fighters that luckily for them, their deaths will be temporarily postponed. Now, an even bigger threat has arrived, and they will unfortunately have to form a temporary alliance. Obviously, the Z Fighters were reluctant to listen to Vegeta. After all, despite the energies approaching Earth seemingly being malicious, maybe, just maybe, there was a small chance they were here to save them. These were unfortunately just Krillin's own delusions. Piccolo leads the group in making the decision to temporarily alliance themselves with Vegeta. He had a bad feeling about this. Frieza's ship chooses to stay in the atmosphere, while 2 fighters along with a huge number of grunts descend onto Earth. These 2 fighters were none other than Zarbon and the Dario, with each of them having a power level of 20,000, and the strongest fighter there having only a power level of 18,000. Things seem pretty bleak. Goku is still a good hour and a half away from reaching the end of Snake Way. Meanwhile, King Kai was calmly observing the situation on Earth. Just kidding, King Kai was in a complete state of panic. Vegeta was already a stretch for Goku, but now Frieza, the one he feared most, the strongest in the universe, was here on Earth. King Kai tells Goku to stop what he's doing and come back to his planet right away. Going back to Earth would just be suicide, and Goku has no idea what the heck King Kai was talking about. Didn't King Kai just send him off because he thought Goku had a fighting chance against Vegeta? King Kai yells at Goku to listen closely. Someone far more terrifying than Vegeta had chosen to come to Earth. Going there was just suicide. Goku, unfortunately, is very stubborn and still refuses to listen to King Kai's advice as he continues to advance along Snake Way. King Kai racks his brain before a great idea crosses his mind that would no doubt prevent Goku from leaving the other world for now. Meanwhile, Zarbon and Dario step forward, demanding to know the location of the Dragon Balls. Vegeta scoffs at this, telling them they will never get that information out of them. Vegeta faces Dodario alone, while Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, and Nappa face off Zarbon. Vegeta's fight against Dodario is pretty tough. Though Vegeta could put up a pretty decent fight, Dodario's power level is 22,000, 4,000 above Vegeta's, so Vegeta was still at a significant disadvantage. On the other side of the battle, it's even more of a lost cause. Piccolo had a power level of 3,500, while Nappa at best only had a power level of 5,000 to 6,000. So Zarbon with a power level of 20,400 completely toys with this group. Though Krillin's Kienzan was still pretty dangerous against Zarbon, Zarbon was constantly on guard and never left an opening. As Zarbon finishes his fight with ease, Dodario wraps up his fight as well, with Vegeta on the ground bloody and bruised. Frieza decides to make his entrance, praising Zarbon and Dodario for a job well done. Frieza doesn't want to waste any more time. He tells them, if they don't want Earth to be destroyed right here and now, they would gather the Dragon Balls right now. Piccolo feigns ignorance about the existence of the Dragon Radar, telling Frieza that they simply had no idea where the Dragon Balls were and would take a long time to gather them. Also, the Dragon Balls were just used and had a cooldown period of 1 year. Although the latter statement was actually the truth, Frieza doesn't buy into what Piccolo says, and he doesn't care either. Frieza tells them he'll give them 1 month to gather the Dragon Balls. If not, Earth would be destroyed. Piccolo tries to bargain with Frieza, stating that Frieza needed Earth. Without Earth, he wouldn't be able to get his hands on the Dragon Balls. However, Frieza simply laughs at this, stating that Earth wasn't the only place with Dragon Balls. If they really refused his request, he'll simply go elsewhere after destroying Earth. Frieza was aware of planet Namek's existence, and seeing Piccolo, a Namekian on this planet, simply reaffirmed his belief that planet Namek would have its own set of Dragon Balls as well. Frieza tells them that they better get ready. If not, Frieza suddenly stops his sentence halfway, launching a death beam through both Vegeta and Nappa's chest, killing both of them instantly. Frieza continues his sentence. If not, they will end up like those traitors over there. As Frieza leaves Earth, he leaves Zarbon and Dodario to patrol Earth and keep an eye on the Z fighters. The 1 month deadline is pretty tight. Piccolo has no idea how to approach this situation. The mention of planet Namek from Frieza piqued his curiosity, but Frieza had left his henchmen to patrol Earth. Zarbon and Dodario were basically watching their every move. There was no way for them to leave Earth. Kami had communicated telepathically with Piccolo, stating that he was trying to find a workaround to get the Dragon Balls up and ready as soon as possible. But at this point in time, it was still too early to say whether he would succeed or not in this endeavor. Whether they would actually give Frieza the Dragon Balls a month later was something else they would have to think about as well. Meanwhile, Goku arrives at King Yama's palace. In order to get out of the other world, he needs Kami's help. Kami was waiting for him there. However, he shakes his head at Goku's request. Goku wouldn't get to leave the afterlife just yet. Goku protests. However, Kami refuses to budge. The situation on Earth was essentially a deadlock. Going there wouldn't do anything. Meanwhile, staying here in the other world for now was simply a better option. Goku is frustrated, but he couldn't deny what Kami was saying made sense. Kami then turns to King Yama, asking where the 2 evil Saiyan souls were. King Yama states that their souls were currently on the way to being cleansed. However, Kami suddenly kneels down, asking King Yama to pardon them for the time being. King Yama cocks his eyebrow, obviously interested in what Kami was thinking. However, he was resolute. He refused to let those 2 evil souls go free. Kami pleads to King Yama once again. If King Yama could temporarily pardon them, there was a chance that these 2 evil Saiyans could even redeem themselves and in the process save lives. King Yama ponders upon this, seemingly in deep thought, before sighing. "You better not make me regret this," King Yama warns Kami. Kami bows his head in gratitude as Nappa and Vegeta suddenly appear, both super confused at their predicament. King Yama warns them to be on their best behavior. They were temporarily pardoned so as to combat the tyrant Frieza, but if they committed any more transgressions, they would be sent straight to hell. Nappa and Vegeta then come face to face with Goku, as Goku tells them that they'll have to head off to King Kai's planet right away to train. Nappa and Vegeta, who actually haven't met Goku yet, ask Goku who he is, as Goku simply replies that he is the Saiyan raised on Earth, the one they know as Kakarot. Nappa, the ever hot-headed one, immediately asks Kakarot for a fight, but sensing King Yama's glare, he suddenly laughs it off, stating that he was just saying a joke. The three then start their journey on Snake Way back towards King Kai. A few minutes later, after they leave, 3 more souls also get their souls pardoned. It was Tianjin Han, Chaozu, and Yamcha, as they also start making their way towards King Kai as well. As the 3 Saiyans and the 3 humans start their training in the other world, the 1-month deadline was looming on the horizon. Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin continued their training in secret, but it seemed hopeless. Getting past Zarbon and Dodario would already be a struggle, much less Frieza. Meanwhile, the Frieza force had already brought Earth's forces to its knees. Earth was now under the rule of the Space Emperor Frieza, and all living beings were subject to the ruthless and unforgiving nature of Frieza. However, with the introduction of a tyrant, naturally came the birth of a resistant force, made up of Earth's strongest fighters, except Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin, as they were still under close scrutiny by Zarbon and Dodario. This resistant force is led by none other than Master Roshi, and is made up of many former World Tournament participants like Nam, Giran, King Chappa, etc. However, all they could do was create small disruptions in the Frieza force's supply routes, as even one single Frieza soldier was already immensely hard for them to take down. Now 1 month passes by. Frieza returns back to Earth. Unbeknownst to Frieza, there were many intricate plans being woven in the background. Kami had successfully upgraded the Dragon Balls such that it could now grant 2 wishes, and since only 1 wish was used to revive Goku a month back, the Dragon Balls were currently active. However, that's not all he did. Let's get back to Frieza. Using the Dragon Radar, Bulma had managed to find all the Dragon Balls. Bulma places the Dragon Balls in front of Frieza, an expression of pure disgust on her face. She didn't want to do this, but they had no other choice. As Shenron is summoned and Frieza states his wish to become immortal, Shenron doesn't do anything. Frieza states his wish once again, but is again ignored by the dragon. Piccolo suddenly butts in, stating to the dragon to revive all those killed by Frieza. Suddenly, the entire Z-Fighter gang, comprising of Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, along with Goku, Vegeta, and Nappa appear before Frieza. The reason Frieza couldn't make the wish was because Kami had modified Shenron such that it would only obey the commands of his creator Kami, or in this case, Kami's other self, Piccolo. As the Dragon Balls scatter and the sky brightens, Frieza yells in frustration as he turns around to face the rebels, intending to end all of them off right here and then. So, before the fight begins, let's cover the strength of all the fighters here. During the 1 month of training on King Kai's planet, no one had actually learned any new King Kai techniques, as it was too short of a time frame to learn them. Instead, they all simply utilized the time on King Kai's planet to improve themselves. The 3 Saiyans grew especially strong, as they were able to quickly adapt to the 10 times gravity, as well as any extremely heavy weights that King Kai gave them. Recall how Goku had grown so strong during the 6 years inside the gravity chamber on his way to Namek? Well, imagine how strong he would get with a strong sparring partner in the form of Vegeta in 1 month. So, let's cover some power levels. Unfortunately, the trio that stayed on Earth, Piccolo, Gohan and Krillin, didn't grow too much as they were under close scrutiny by the Frieza Force, so they were only at a power level of 20,000, 10,000 and 8,000 respectively. Meanwhile, Chaozu has a power level of 15,000, with Yamcha at 23,000, Tien at 25,000. Remember how Goku had gone from 8,000 to 90,000 in just 6 days? Well, Nappa is at a power level of 200,000, with Vegeta at 1 million and Goku at 800,000. Vegeta wants to handle Frieza on his own. It was his own Saiyan pride, so he tells Goku to step aside. First form Frieza throws a punch at Vegeta, which Vegeta easily catches. Vegeta at a power level of 1 million immediately overwhelms first form Frieza as he nearly crushes Frieza's face, while Frieza struggles to free himself from Vegeta's grasp. Frieza yells in pain as he releases some of the shackles on his power, transforming into his second form, pushing Vegeta back. Now the fight becomes completely even as Vegeta and second form Frieza duke it out. Frieza decides that he has had enough as he goes into his third form and starts overwhelming Vegeta, dealing considerable damage to him. Vegeta was getting pushed back, so Goku decides to jump in and help with a Kaioken strike. Unfortunately, the rest of the Z fighters, including Nappa, are basically fallen in this fight, and jumping in to help will only get them killed. Goku goes up to Kaioken times 4 and now starts dealing significant damage to third form Frieza. Frieza widens his eyes in surprise as he's punched into a rock formation. Frieza stands back up, not completely unscattered, some injuries finally showing. Frieza glares at Goku and Vegeta as he finally decides to show them, to make them understand what true terror, what true helplessness feels like. Frieza starts to power up to unveil his true power. As Frieza undergoes his transformation, his power steadily rises, and it was to a point that Goku and Vegeta could both tell that Frieza was immediately out of their league. Vegeta offhandedly remarks that it could be great if there was a way to heal themselves fully immediately. Goku questions Vegeta, asking what he meant. Vegeta explains to Goku about the Saiyan's unique ability, the Zenkai Boost, an ability that allows them to grow multitudes stronger from a near-death battle. Goku immediately turns his head towards Krillin, asking him whether they had any Senzu beans left. Similar to the Frieza saga in canon, Master Korin had managed to grow out 5 Senzu beans. So, Nappa, Goku and Vegeta nod at each other as they literally blast a hole through each other's chest. Krillin feeds Goku the Senzu bean first, as he is still pretty hesitant in doing the same for Nappa and Vegeta. However, Goku puts a hand on Krillin's shoulder, telling him that they needed their strength for this fight. Krillin hesitantly feeds the other 2 Senzus to Nappa and Vegeta as well, as all 3 Saiyans undergo a huge increase in power, with now Nappa at 2 million, with Vegeta at 10 million and Goku at 8 million. At this point, all Nappa and Vegeta can do, however, is to support Goku, because Frieza had finally ascended into his final form. Frieza decides to just use 50% of his power. However, he slowly realizes he can't match Goku. Goku, just with Kaioken times 10, is already at a power level of 80 million. So Frieza decides to go all out as he powers up into his full power state, his muscles bulging. Goku does the same, pushing his body to its absolute limit as well, going into Kaioken times 20. Goku can slowly feel the Kaioken ripping through his body. He didn't have much time. He'll have to end this fight right away. Goku slowly charges his Kamehameha, chanting it under his breath as he pummels Frieza left and right. Frieza was only at a power level of 10 million below Goku and could still somewhat hang in there. That is until Goku launches his full power Kamehameha. Frieza tries to use his hand to block the blast. However, the Kamehameha effortlessly bypasses any of Frieza's efforts. Frieza yells as he braces for impact, the Kamehameha engulfing him. The fight was over. Goku heaves a sigh of relief as he puts a thumbs up to Krillin. This time around though, Frieza doesn't magically pop out of nowhere to kill Krillin. The Kamehameha had indeed ended Frieza. So in the Saiyan Saga, we actually observed Goku's power level go from 416 to 950 when Goku used the Kamehameha against Raditz. Similarly here, Goku's power level of 8 million jumps up to 160 million with Kaioken times 20, and then up to 365 million when Goku uses the full power Kamehameha. Frieza, with only a power level of 150 million, simply can't handle the power of a 365 million power level Kamehameha. However, one thing to take away from this battle is the fact that Goku didn't turn Super Saiyan. As the fight between Frieza and Goku wraps up, a spybot continues observing the scene. This is none other than Dr. Gero. With this new data and his almost completed work, there was no way he wouldn't be able to defeat Son Goku. So, let's cover what would happen in the future timeline. Most of it stays the exact same. Without the battles happening on planet Namek, Gero basically has full grasp of Goku's abilities. King Cold will come to Earth like usual. However, Goku, even without Super Saiyan, will be able to best him with the Kaioken. One thing to take note is the lack of planet Yajat, so Goku doesn't learn off the instant transmission. When the androids arrive, however, it's even more of a one-sided beatdown. Goku already perishes to the heart virus beforehand. So, with Vegeta and the rest, they have no chance against the androids and all die, leaving only Gohan and Trunks to safeguard the future. As usual, future Gohan will lose his life to the androids as well, leaving only Trunks left to go to the past. Trunks here doesn't know how to turn Super Saiyan, however, so Goku is still the one to defeat King Cold instead of future Trunks being the one to do so. As usual, Trunks approaches Goku and passes him the heart virus medication, informing him of the androids that will come in the next 3 years. Goku and the rest start their intense training like usual. However, no one knows the catalyst to turn Super Saiyan. Vegeta's anger at Goku for being stronger than him isn't enough to push him over the edge, as Goku isn't a Super Saiyan here, so Vegeta's inferiority complex isn't fully at play. When androids 19 and 20 finally arrive, Goku and the rest intercept their advances like usual. However, Goku just in Kaioken is already not a match for Android 19. Piccolo here also hasn't ever fused with Neo, so he isn't of much help whatsoever. As Android 19 drains Goku's energy, Vegeta and Nappa arrive on the scene. Unfortunately for them, they aren't enough to make a significant impact on the battle. However, there was still one hope left. Gohan, seeing everyone laying defeated on the ground, gets a substantial rage boost as he manages to dispatch Android 19 with a powerful Masenko from behind that caught the android off guard. Unfortunately, this power up is temporary, and Android 20 then defeats Gohan soon after. Just like that, the timeline has basically aligned with the future, with all the fighters defeated. Android 20 walks around, a satisfied smirk on his face. However, before he could finish Goku off, someone kicks him, sending him flying. Gero catches himself. The kick itself wasn't that strong. However, he didn't expect another fighter to enter the battle. It was a mysterious teen he couldn't identify. This was none other than future Trunks. Without Super Saiyan here, Trunks is unfortunately no match for Gero. Trunks knows that, however. There was still one last person who hadn't joined the fight who would be their salvation. Krillin suddenly flies in, yelling Solar Flare. Gero's eyes are blinded as he is temporarily stunned. When he reopens his eyes, all the Z fighters were gone. Krillin and Trunks had managed to transport all the injured Z fighters right out of there. Obviously, Gero wasn't too happy about this outcome. However, he wasn't too displeased either. He had already gotten what he wanted out of this fight. Confirmation that he indeed could best all the Z Fighters. As Goku recuperates, the rest of the Z Fighters reconvene to plan their next move. Vegeta, who has had his pride utterly demolished, stood there motionless, reflecting. Piccolo meanwhile leaps towards Kami's lookout. There was only one thing left to do. Kami, who was initially hesitant about the fusion, witnessed the abomination known as Cell, and finally decides to heed Piccolo's request. Piccolo and Kami fuse, forming the Nameless Namekian, as the Nameless Namekian heads down to meet Cell. Keep in mind that Piccolo here is weaker as he has never fused with Neo, so Cell was actually able to put Piccolo on the ropes. However, Piccolo was just still slightly ahead of Cell, which results in him utilizing the solar flare to flee the battle. Cell's next game plan was to obviously find the androids, and the first place he searches is Dr. Jiro's lab. And guess what he finds there? Cell cackles in delight. Androids 17 and 18, both still locked up in their pods. Though there was one more thing to address. Cell comes out of the shadows and greets Dr. Jiro. Jiro has no idea who or what Cell is, and he's immediately on guard. However, Cell tells Jiro to calm down. After all, they were on the same side. Cell was Dr. Jiro's creation. Jiro lowers his hand in confusion. Cell gestures at himself, still incubating in the pod. He was Cell, but 20 years into the future. He had come back utilizing the time machine. Jiro's jaw drops in amazement. His secret side project had actually succeeded. Jiro immediately knows Cell's objective. He was here for 17 and 18. Jiro steps aside, giving Cell full access to the 17 and 18 capsules. Cell opens them, and before 17 and 18 can even react, Cell absorbs them. Cell goes straight from his imperfect form into his perfected state, his power rising exponentially as he morphs. Cell laughs as he powers up, his power shaking the entire earth. As Jiro smiles, the rest of the Z Fighters sense the increased power as well. That was definitely not a good sign. Goku also finally wakes up after his heart virus. Sensing Cell's power, Goku knew that things were more urgent than ever. Goku flies over to where Vegeta was reflecting on his loss and suggests the hyperbolic time chamber like canon. Instead of Vegeta and Trunks going in first, Vegeta and Nappa enter the time chamber first, hoping to finally find a way to tap into the Super Saiyan transformation. They had all sensed Cell's power, and the chasm in power between them was ridiculous. Cell and Jiro laid out their subsequent plans. They didn't need to scour the earth for the Z Fighters. All they needed to do was smoke them out. And Cell knew exactly what to do. Because the initial fight between him and Super Vegeta didn't occur, Cell didn't really have very high expectations of the Z Fighters' power. But he still wanted a good fight. Jiro had a different objective, however. All he wanted to do was to kill Son Goku. For now, Cell and Jiro's objectives aligned. Cell goes to the TV station like usual, announcing his presence to the world, and his intention to hold a tournament in 5 days' time. And if the people on Earth lose, he would destroy Earth. Jiro himself obviously wasn't too happy with the time lag that Cell had implemented. However, at this point, he couldn't really oppose Cell. As Cell wipes out the entire human army, Goku clenches his fists in frustration. He wanted to go and help, but going now was simply suicide. Around a day later, Vegeta and Nappa exit the time chamber, with Vegeta having a wide smirk on his face. He proudly proclaims that he has finally achieved the Super Saiyan transformation, and after he takes down Cell, Kakarot is next. Vegeta flies away, leaving all the Z fighters dumbfounded. Vegeta had clearly allowed the power of his new transformation to get to his head. Nappa himself still hadn't unlocked the form, though he was pretty close. Goku and Gohan then go into the time chamber like usual. Sensing Cell's power beforehand, they didn't have particularly high hopes in Vegeta. Vegeta flies towards Cell's power signature, arriving before Cell and Gero. Vegeta tells Cell to prepare himself. It was time for Cell to witness true terror, the legendary Super Saiyan. Vegeta yells as he transforms, his hair turning a light hue of yellow. Cell was pretty intrigued in Vegeta's transformation, but not his power. Vegeta's power still seemed leagues below Cell. Unfortunately for Vegeta, as soon as he strikes the thumb post, he gets destroyed again for the second time in a row. Cell doesn't even bother to take Vegeta seriously, leaving Vegeta defeated on the ground. Vegeta was in complete disbelief. Despite finally becoming a Super Saiyan of legend, his power was still underwhelming compared to Cell's. Vegeta flies away, his pride utterly shattered. As the countdown to the Cell game slowly ticks down, Goku and Gohan also exit the time chamber. Goku had managed to unlock Super Saiyan, but he hadn't quite mastered the form just yet. Unfortunately, Gohan still hadn't managed to unlock the transformation, but somehow his power was already crazy impressive. His high potential, along with being forced to keep up with Super Saiyan Goku, had allowed him to grow at exponential rates. So as usual, the rest take their turns in the hyperbolic time chamber, with Piccolo going in the next this time alongside Trunks, as Trunks still hadn't had his turn yet. Then Vegeta and Nappa going in once again for the second time. Goku decides to go in once more, as he was hoping he could master the Super Saiyan transformation in the second year. However, he tells Gohan to stay behind. Gohan objects, but Goku doesn't relent on his decision. Gohan didn't need to go inside any longer. He had already pushed himself to his absolute limit. However, what he lacked was the emotional catalyst to really tap into Super Saiyan. Deep down, Goku knew that Gohan might be their only hope. Instead, Goku decides to bring Trunks inside for a second time, hoping he could teach the young Saiyan the ways of a Super Saiyan. So, the Cell games arrive more quickly than we anticipated. Cell and Gero wait at the arena, waiting for the Z fighters' arrival. As usual, Hercule appears first, making a fool out of himself, with Cell slapping him away in one hit. The Z fighters then make their way to the scene, as Gero immediately wants to take revenge on Son Goku. So, the first match of the Cell games was Gero against Goku. Cell knew that Gero might not have it in him to win this fight, but honestly, he didn't care whatsoever. Despite Gero being his creator, he had no significant emotional connection with Gero. As Goku finishes Gero off, Cell simply watches with an expression of uninterest. Cell then steps up to the arena next, asking if he could have this next fight with Goku. This fight pretty much goes exactly like canon, even though Goku is still slightly weaker than his canon counterpart. However, Goku doesn't forfeit here to give Gohan a go. Goku knew that no one here could beat Cell unless Gohan really tapped into Super Saiyan. And after spending those 2 years in the time chamber and analyzing the Super Saiyan form, he knew that anger was the catalyst. He needed Gohan to get angry enough to tap into the form. And what better way to get Gohan angry than to watch his own father getting torn to shreds. Goku proceeds to be on the receiving end of the worst beatdown of his life. Cell slowly amps up his power as he fights, as he continues to beat Goku up. On the sideline, Gohan's anger is rising. Why was no one doing anything? Were they all just gonna sit by and watch his father die? Goku, having the life beaten out of him, goes back into his base form. Cell looks at Goku with an expression of utter disappointment etched onto his face. He expected better from the esteemed Son Goku. However, suddenly everyone feels a new key flare up. It was Gohan. Gohan's anger has finally reached a boiling point. Gohan's aura explodes in a yellowish light as he rushes at Cell, his momentary increase in speed catching everyone off guard. Cell barely manages to catch Gohan's first punch, but Gohan then backhands Cell away from Goku, sending Cell flying backwards. Super Saiyan 1 Gohan and Cell trade blows, and they seem to be evenly matched. Goku smiles at this. Gohan had finally tapped into his true potential. As Gohan slowly grows accustomed to his new Super Saiyan form, his power slowly eclipses Cell's. However, like Super Saiyan 2 in canon, Gohan's sadistic nature leaks out as he taunts Cell, not fully finishing Cell off. Cell grits his teeth. He knew that he might not be able to win this fight, so he suddenly decides to send a death that completely misses Gohan. Gohan laughs at Cell, asking if Cell had finally lost his touch. However, Gohan hears cries of anguish behind him. Gohan looks at the beam's target and realizes they had headed straight for his father, and because of his own negligence, Goku, who was still laying injured on the floor at the time, had lost his life to Cell's death beam. Gohan's anger rises up once again. However, Cell doesn't let up, choosing to shoot death beams towards all the Z fighters there. Vegeta, Nappa, and Trunks would be fine, as they were Super Saiyans, so Gohan chose to prioritize the others first, sorting away the ones headed for Tien, Yamcha, and Piccolo. However, the one headed for Krillin was a little far out of his reach. Gohan barely manages to make it in time, though he has to body block the blast rendering one of his entire arms useless. Cell laughs, thinking that he had finally won, as he cups his hands together forming a Solar Kamehameha, as Gohan does the same as well, albeit with one hand. A beam clash ensues, where Gohan, thanks to Goku's encouragement like usual, manages to triumph over Cell, killing Cell once and for all. So, with the defeat of Cell, we will end off this series here. Following this series will simply realign with the original story into the Majin Buu saga, besides the fact that Nappa's alive. However, I really doubt that Nappa's presence would change things up too much. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and I'll see you all in the next one.